Well, guys, it finally happened. Billy Napier has been fired by Florida, and it's not hard to see why, as Napier has arguably been one of Florida's worst head coaches of all time. So today I thought I'd go ahead and go over some of the replacements for Billy Napier that Florida is looking at. The first one I want to talk about is the one that everyone has been talking about, and that is Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin has done a great job at Ole Miss, building them into something special and one of the better teams in the SEC. He averages about 10 wins a year, and 2 years ago led Ole Miss to their first 11-win season in program history. And currently, they are 6-1 on the season and have a chance to make the college football playoffs. Kiffin is arguably the best candidate on this list, in my opinion. Not only because he's been such a great coach at Ole Miss, but because there is just something that reminds me of Steve Spurrier about him. He has the same vibe and the same feels, and a lot of people agree. Plus, Kiffin was also the head coach at Florida Atlantic for a few years before coming to Ole Miss, so he has ties to the state. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to happen. Kiffin hasn't made it Ole Miss and has a shot to take them to the playoffs, and I just really don't think he'd leave to go to Florida. Florida has been down in the ground for so long. Many people say he could leave because he could win a national championship at Florida, but I could actually see him doing that at Ole Miss and win them their first national title. I don't know. I feel like he's got just as good of a shot to do it at Ole Miss that he does Florida. I personally thought Florida should have hired him back in 2021, and I think they would have been able to get him then. Unfortunately, I don't think they can get him now. The next guy I want to talk about is Alex Galosh, who is the head coach at South Florida. Galosh has actually turned around South Florida. Despite inheriting a 1-win team a couple years ago, he went 7-6 in his first year as the head coach of the Bulls and led them to a bowl win, and then went 7-6 again with another bowl win the following year. And this year, they are currently 5-1 on the season and actually beat Florida on their home field. It's safe to say that many Florida fans want him, as he is currently coaching in the state of Florida, and I actually could see this happening. The only risk is that he's really only had one big year, which is currently this year. He was also a great offensive coordinator for Tennessee and helped develop Hendon Hooker into a star quarterback. So that is another thing to note. Another name that has popped up in Florida's coaching search is Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz has completely turned Missouri around, as he had an 11-win season just 2 years ago, and they are currently 6-1 on the season. He's had a lot of success in these last 3 years at Missouri and has made them relevant again. However, the only question is, would he leave to go to Florida and leave what he's built at Missouri? I don't know. Another name that has got a lot of attention is former Penn State head coach James Franklin. Franklin, despite getting fired this year after starting the year 3-3, actually had a really good record at Penn State and won a lot of games there and took them to the college football playoffs last season. And he also has ties to the SEC, as he was the head coach at Vanderbilt for a few years, which is actually a very hard place to win, but he did it there. I definitely feel like he can make Florida relevant again. However, some Florida fans may not want him simply for the fact that he couldn't win big games at Penn State, and he didn't always have the best record against ranked teams. Another name that I've heard in this coaching search is the head coach at Washington, Jedd Fisch, who is actually an alumni for Florida. So he does have ties to the program, but he is more of a West Coast kind of guy, as he's been the head coach of both Arizona and Washington. He had success his third year at Arizona, where despite his first 2 years of things not going very well, he had a 10-win season his third year. And so far at Washington, they are currently 5-1. But I still feel like it would be kind of a risk, but it still would be a major improvement from Billy Napier. Another name that has popped up is the head coach at Tulane, John Summerall. Before Summerall was at Tulane, he won a combined 23-4 in his 2 years at Troy, where he won back-to-back conference titles at a program that had 3 straight losing seasons when he got there. And so far, these last 2 years at Tulane, he has done nothing but win. As last year, they had a 9-win season and made their conference championship game. And currently, they are 6-1 on the season. He also has ties to the SEC, as he was both a defensive coordinator for Kentucky and also helped coach linebackers at Ole Miss. And I feel like this could really work out. The only thing that does sort of concern me is that Florida did blow his team out last year in their bowl game. So I do feel like there is some risk with that. Other than that, I still think this will be a great hire. Another name that has been mentioned in this search is Oregon head coach Dan Lanning, who is in his 3 years as the head coach of Oregon has gone a combined 41-7 and 2-1 in bowl games. He also led Oregon to an undefeated regular season record last year and won the Big Ten championship. Every year there, he's done nothing but win, as they've won 10-plus games every single year that he's been there, and he's just done an incredible job. He also has ties to the SEC, as before he was the head coach at Oregon, he was actually the defensive coordinator for Georgia under the national championship team back in 2021. Unfortunately, though, I think it's very unlikely that he'd leave to go to Florida. I really couldn't see him leaving for what he's built at Oregon, especially since he's got a good shot at winning them a national championship. Another coach that has been mentioned is Kansas head coach Lance Leipold, who has actually turned around Kansas into a somewhat decent program, and a couple years ago led them to a 9-win season with their first bowl win, and was also their first winning season in 15 years. He's made 2 bowl games while he's been there, which is insane for Kansas, and it's probably going to take them to their 3rd this year. And I actually could see him leaving for Florida, with Florida having more resources and more money. Although I do wonder, could he do well in the SEC? I don't know. I still think it would be a decent hire, though. Another name that has been mentioned is a familiar name in Gainesville, and that is Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was the head coach for the Gators from 2005 to 2010, where he actually won 2 national championships, and then went to Ohio State, where he also won a national championship. He led Florida to tons of success, and some people wonder, what if this could be his way of coming back to college football? I personally wouldn't be surprised if this happened, but at the same time, it is kind of risky, as he has never coached in the era of NIL and the transfer portal. Another name that has been mentioned is former Oakland Raiders head coach Jon Gruden, who was a great head coach at the NFL level and has talked about wanting to come down to coach college football. However, despite all this, I really don't think this will work out, as he doesn't really have much college experience. And I feel like this would just be like what North Carolina did with Bill Belichick, and we all know that was a disaster. Another name that has been in this search is current NFL offensive coordinator Todd Monken, who was a great offensive coordinator for Georgia when they won back-to-back national championships before leaving to go to the NFL. He also has experience at the college level due to the fact that he was the head coach for Southern Miss for 3 years, where he actually had success. And although he's not doing too well with the Ravens right now, this could be a perfect time for him to come back to college, this time as a head coach. Some people may not think it would be a good hire due to the fact that he hasn't done very well with the Ravens as their offensive coordinator, but he was a great coordinator for Georgia. So I feel like this could work out. Anyway, that's all for this video. Please let me know who you think will be the next head coach at Florida. Please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. This is Schultz31, and I'll see you guys next time.